Where the fuck was I? Let's see. My phone kind of ran out of memory yesterday, so I'd planned on this being one video, but now I get two parts. So I'll finish where I got cut off last time with Apocalyptical 789's question about how long I do lifts for. So for the most part, I do lifts until I stall with them, until I'm at that point where I just can't add weight, or there's no foreseeable progression really happening with that cycle at least. Sometimes I'll stop when I hit a goal, like with the hack squats, for example. 600 was my supreme goal, so I just stopped once I hit that. I probably could have gone maybe a little past it, but that was just what I really wanted to hit, and call it a day there. Simple as that. Usually stall, sometimes after goals. He also asked, why do beginners often default to bro splits or powerlifting programs? And I think it's mostly just because of magazines and Mark Rippetoe bullshit telling you need to squat, bench, and deadlift when you need to do none of those things. You can do some of those things. You can do 2 out of the 3, you can do 1 out of the 3, you can do none out of the 3, or all of them. I think it's just a lot of beginners take these known people to be, the supreme end all be all of knowledge. Paulie Quinn, Rippetoe. They listen to people like Jason Blaha, fucking Alan Thrall. They listen to these people and think, oh, that's all I can do. I have to deadlift, I have to squat, I have to bench press. But I wish more people would say that you don't have to do those things. Not at all. And a lot of people probably progress a lot more if they didn't focus on those 3 lifts. Again, nothing wrong with them, but there are so many fucking lifts to do that you shouldn't limit yourself to focusing on 3 of them. In my opinion, at least. Let's see what's next. Joseph Schwalb asked for tips about the hack squat. My tips is to max out in it every day until you stall. Aside from that, I'd say work on having quad strength and upper back strength are probably the 2 biggest factors in that lift. Being able to be comfortable lifting with a rounded thoracic spine, which is the upper part of your spine, up here, can't reach. Try and do it with as straight a lumbar spine as possible. A little bit rounding is fine, but getting comfortable lifting with that rounded thoracic spine is scary for some people. If you're not used to it, it feels like your back might break. It's not going to, don't worry. But yeah, work on quad strength. That'll help less. Doing standard squat will work. Sissy squats, those Norwegian squats I was doing really carried over. I'm very confident they did at least. But really, get good at bracing. It's big when you're lifting with the round spine, being able to brace properly. Pushing through your heels. Messing around with foot placement. Try narrow. Try a little wider. If you go a little narrower, you can push your knees a little farther forward, which helps some people. A little wider, a little more stable base. Try focusing on the point where you transfer the weight, because it starts like it's pretty standard deadlift, then you have to transfer your weight forward and push through with your quads. So getting good at that transfer point will often help. He also said he was worried about his back, and honestly, if you keep your thoracic spine relatively neutral and allow for some thoracic rounding, maybe not to the end range of motion, but a little bit's fine. As long as you're bracing hard enough, you'll be fine. Belt up, definitely belt up. People will say, oh, don't use a belt, you'll have a weak core. Fuck those people. Belt up. You'll, lift more weight, so why not? Alexandria Armstrong asked about training neck and forearms separate from, if you're doing Bulgarian lights, training them separate from the main lift. I honestly don't see really the point in training neck. Some people would do it. Fit World Exposed is big on it. I've never seen the point unless maybe you're a wrestler, but even then, you're probably getting enough from people tugging on your neck all day long. But if you want to do it, you'll probably be fine, unless you're maybe doing some insane trap exercise. But other than that, you'll probably be fine. With forearms, again, I talked about in the first video, training grip, you'll probably have enough development. If you're a bodybuilder, then you probably wouldn't be doing Bulgarian light anyway, but some wrist curls and stuff isn't going to be the end of the world. But I don't know. With those two things, you'll be fine. They're not going to be all that taxing. With the forearm, I'll be a little careful. If especially doing like a deadlift variation or a row where you're going to need some grip, then probably lay off. But if you're doing like a back squat, you'll be fine. You know, it's not going to affect your squat at all. Jimmy Bean asked about my mustache and beard program. I do 5x5. I feel Mark Ripito is a big believer in it, so I do 5 days beard, shave, and let my mustache get to 5 inches long, and that's my program. It's pretty good. I mispronounced your name, so I'm sorry. Marko Brakovic was asking about maintaining balance in my muscular development. I don't really focus on it. I don't press often, so I don't need to worry about my shoulders hunching because I'm doing nothing but pulling basically. But from a side-to-side aspect, left arm, right arm, I also don't worry about it. I definitely work my dominant side way more, and size-wise, I'm very symmetrical. There's no real difference in either side of my legs or my arms. When I was doing those croc rows, I worked my right arm maybe, I'm not sure, 8-9 days, and then I worked my left arm twice in it. So, you know, I don't care about being symmetrical. I want to perform. I don't, you know, it's not the end of the world. Your body's pretty good at balancing itself out. There's some research that suggests that if you work out, for example, you did bicep curls in one arm, your left arm will grow slightly also due to the stimulus, even though you're not working in. So I honestly don't worry about it. My lats are, you know, same size, biceps same size, legs are the same size. So maybe not everyone would be as lucky if they did how I do it, but for me it's been fine. Obviously I have a dominant side, but I'm totally okay with having a dominant side. So next is Justin Chu. He asked what my favorite deadlift variation is. I'd say the Jefferson. I think it feels supremely athletic. He keeps saying supreme, I don't know why. It's very athletic. It's going to have a lot of carryover to sports because you're a bit of a staggered stance, which you are in pretty much every sport. There's no sport where your feet are parallel and together, you know. I think that's probably the best. It has some anti-rotation involved. You're able to move a lot of weight. You can do it every single day, no problem, because the weight's under you. I think that's great. Other than that, I think the hack squat and the back deadlift is a great variation, as well as trap bar deadlifts. Regular deadlifts, never been a fan of, even when I used to do them. Never liked them, never felt good. Hard to do every day, harder than a Jefferson or a behind the back deadlift. But that's it. And then he also asked my favorite overhead press variation is. My favorite one is the Z press, which is a strict overhead press where you're sitting on your butt with your legs straight in front of you. It's my favorite because most people are goddamn terrible at it, and I haven't done it in a while, but when I did, I was pretty damn good at it. It was pretty close to my regular standing strict press, so I think it's good for getting really good at bracing for the overhead press, focusing on having a good groove, you know, pushing the right way. You're not going to move a lot of weight doing it, so it's not best for Bulgarian necessarily. It would work for sure, but best for Bulgarian light, probably push press. You can give a little more each day just by getting a little more legs in, so you can overload easier. But yeah, Z press is definitely my favorite overhead press. I like some single arm stuff's fun, but Z press. And then kind of going off that, I just said Jafaku asked what the most effective overhead press for Bulgarian light would be. Like I said, push press. It's easier to give a little more each day. You can really, you know, give a little more oomph every day. So, GP 1997 asked if he should take his shoes off deadlifting. He's been wearing running shoes while he's deadlifting. Definitely get rid of your running shoes. If you're lifting, you know, they're called running shoes for a reason. They're made to run in, not to lift in. Lifting barefoot's fine, lifting some socks. My advice, go to Walmart. I fucking hate Walmart, but they have these like $3 slip-on shoes that are thin, hard, no padding. Go buy those to lift in if you're not allowed to lift barefoot. You're just gonna have a lot of instability, especially squatting, definitely deadlift too, and you're gonna lose a lot of power when the bottom of your shoe compresses and, you know, moves side to side. So definitely stop lifting those, man. Not a good idea. Especially as you get stronger, it's going to start affecting you more and more. Turtle and Hurry asked how I deal with soreness. I sometimes foam roll, but that's very seldom. I work very hard when I lift, but I'm very lazy outside of lifting, so I don't do that very often. It's like once every 6 months or something. Do some light stretching, some light mobility work. I try to do it every day a little bit, but it's kind of hit or miss for me. Most of it is just dealing with it. Just suck it up, you know. Chutzpah, that's what it is. Magnum Johnson asked what the best mass gaining exercise is. Purely for mass, especially Bulgarian style, barbell back squat. Hands down. Anyone tells you differently, they're full of shit. Barbell back squat, best mass gaining exercise there is. Overall body, if you want to pick one exercise to do for the rest of your life and your goal is to get big, do a back squat. Aside from that, some runners up, I guess, would probably be a Zercher squat, a front squat. Notice a pattern here. Any kind of squat, really. Lunges. Hack squat's pretty good for it. Get some good back development. But yeah, any squat variation. Deadlift, standard deadlift, not the greatest. I think it's very overrated for building mass, but you know, people disagree with that. This one's from Reddit, I believe. Das Itman Ian asked if I'd ever, or can you, pair Bulgarian light with any other type of training, and he gave examples like calisthenics or gymnastics style training. Like I said, when I first started, I did just squatting every day. I paired that with my rowing, and I also did other lifts, like upper body lifts at the time too. It worked really well, but again, you have to plan more long term. You have to do a little different with the squatting. I did for 6 months every single day, and it was ups and downs. It wasn't PR every single day, but it can definitely be done. I think if you're going to pair it with something, definitely try to pair like opposite parts of your body. So if you're doing a bunch of, maxing out squats every day, doing some pull-ups or whatever is going to be fine. Definitely works. You can do some conditioning. Like I said, I was rowing every day. The way I do it, it'd be a little harder to do conditioning. It's definitely possible, but it shouldn't be super crazy conditioning. I wouldn't go on like a 60-minute jog. I wouldn't do, 40 minutes of intervals. It would be relatively easy, short, things. He also asked what my average time spent in the gym is, and that kind of depends on the movement. If it's a bigger movement, like a power shrug where I'm gonna have like 700, 800, 900 pounds on there, I'm gonna be in the gym longer just because it takes more time to work up to that weight. So usually I'd say it takes about an hour. I like to take really long ass breaks between my lifts, or between my warm-up sets. But usually no more longer than an hour and a half. It's gotta be I gotta really be dicking around, be there more than an hour and a half, or doing like, really high rack pulls or something like that. But hour and a half max. Again, it could definitely be condensed. I think most people could get about 45 minutes training like I do. He asked how my physique has changed since I started doing this type of training. I don't really have any physique pictures, but I've put on significant muscle mass, especially in my back, my lats, rhomboids, all my spinal erectors. Basically, they've grown significantly. They obviously gotten stronger too, but that's probably been the biggest change physically. It's been my back. My legs have gotten quite a bit bigger, and my ass too it's always been pretty big, but it's, I'm going off the Kim Kardashian spectrum. I'm getting closer to her, so definitely gotten a lot bigger. I haven't tried bulking or leaning out at any point since I've been doing this. I'm just kind of, hovering wherever I am. So my body fat's been pretty consistent the entire time, but yeah, definitely back has been the biggest difference. Again from Reddit, the Crimson Glass asks, since I only do one exercise, how many sets do I typically do? Max sets, 1. I do 1 top set, call it a day, that's it. Total sets, including the warm-up, again, it'll depend on the movement. We'll take my 600-pound behind the bed deadlift, for example. I did probably 10 reps at 135, 5 reps at 185, 3 at 225, a single at 275, 315, etc. Single at a time, all the way up to 16. So, or 600, sorry. So not a whole lot of sets. Keep the volume pretty low in my warm-ups usually. But just one top set. He also asked if it was AMRAP, and sometimes if I'm going for multiple reps it will be, but usually it's just max weight for a single. Most exercises just a top single. Certain exercises like rows, I like to do a little higher reps, usually 3 to 5, sometimes 50, but usually 3 to 5. Also with more isolation movements like the sissy squats, the Norwegian squats, I like to do a little higher reps with those too. Certain exercises are kind of hard to max out and there's not a whole lot of point in maxing out. Like a 1 rep max pen lay row doesn't really do anything for you. Hitting 3 to 5 reps with 10 pounds less will do a lot more for you with that movement, with Bulgarian light at least. He asked how my weekly volume compares to a traditional program, and I'm assuming like 531 or PHUL or anything like that. It's very, very low. The intensity is extremely high every day. Obviously, it's as much intensity as I can possibly get, but the volume itself is very low. And that again, I'll use my 600 behind the back deadlift. That week, I only hit a couple thousand pounds of volume, which is really fucking low. But the intensity is what drives Bulgarian light. The volume doesn't matter. It's the intensity. And he asked if I go for a PR every day, which is a definitive yes. There have been few days in the past, since I started training like this, that I haven't PR'd. Sometimes, my buddy Eric Bugenhagen made a video about it yesterday actually saying, take what's there. So if a 1 rep max isn't there, sometimes I will drop down and do what I did the day before, but hit 2 or 3 reps instead of just 1. Just to drive that progression somehow, get a PR somehow. It keeps you motivated. It forces you to progress, and it's really the way to go with Bulgarian light. Let's see. Progressive asks how many days a week I train, which is 7. Every day, all day. In the last year, I've taken 1 day off lifting. That was because I was really burnt out and sick. That was the only day. Even when I'm sick, normally I'll train same way. That's it. No days off. I'm lifts per day, so just one a day. Simple as that. He said, how would I change the program for beginner or early intermediate? I wouldn't probably have an absolute beginner train like this. There's aspects from it you could take. For example, squatting every day, not necessarily to max, but getting some type of squat in every day would be a great way for a beginner to incorporate Bulgarian style training into their program. Just coming and squatting the bar at least every day would make a huge difference, mobility-wise, comfort-wise. I think it'd make a big difference. I wouldn't train exactly how I do as a beginner. I don't think you'd see a whole lot of progress. Usually beginners need more volume, and you need to build a base. If you played sports previously and you've been active your entire life and lifted in the gym before, you could probably be okay as a beginner intermediate lifting like I do. But if you're just off the couch, never done anything your entire life, definitely don't train like I do. Get some volume in, fuck around a little. Don't do strong lifts either, for the love of God, don't do strong lifts. But find something that works, It's okay to dick around the gym a little bit. And then he asked, he's afraid of dropping an exercise like the back squat, for example. He's worried about getting weaker in other lifts, like his deadlift, for example. Don't worry about it so much. I don't worry about it. I don't care if my other lifts drop. I always give an example. What would change your body more? Putting 200 pounds on your deadlift or adding 10 pounds to 3 different lifts? So if you put 200 pounds on your deadlift, all your other lifts are going to be pretty good still. Like, you shouldn't worry about it. They might drop temporarily, but they'll come back very quickly once you start working on them. He also asked about working in sets of 3 to 5. We kind of went over that. Certain exercises, a little higher reps, work great. This fucking noise. This fucking sprinkler system here is making shit. God damn it. But for the most part, hit a top single. Also asking about mobility work. Like I said, I do a little bit. I advise you do more than I do. Try to hit some mobility work. There we go. Turned off. Try to do mobility work every day. A good thing to do is just make it part of your morning or bedtime routine. If you just tell yourself, oh, I'll do some mobility during the day sometime, you'll never do it. But if you make it part of your morning routine, like take a shower, do some mobility work, brush my teeth, you're gonna stick to it more, or you'll be more likely to stick to it. Ronan O'Keefe asked what my current diet is. I eat for the most part what I want. I eat the same thing pretty much every day. A lot of chicken patties, try to eat some meat, a lot of vegetables, beets, spinach, ginger, a lot of vegetables. You never eat too many vegetables. I keep it pretty simple. I don't do anything fancy. I don't do any keto bullshit or low carb bullshit. I just eat what I want. I'm a Wisconsin guy. I'm not gonna starve myself of cheese and whatever. I want carbs, I want fat, I want everything. So those are all the best questions I got. Thank you again for watching. It means a lot to me. If you have any more questions, you can put them in the comments. I'll try to ask or answer them. Other than that, fucking lift heavy. Have a good day. See you, man.